हरिओम सर।
हरिओम एवरीवन।
हरिओम सर।
हरिओम
हरिओम एवरीवन।
हरिओम
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 हरिओम।
हरिओम
Om. Om. Welcome everyone. Welcome back. Prabhat. My apologies.
हरिओम
Last class.
उत्सव,
Hari
गुड
Om.
मॉर्निंग।
Good morning. Good morning.
तबीयत ठीक है ना?
हाँ हाँ एकदम परफेक्ट।
सर्दी खांसी हल्दी थोड़ा पी लिया करो गर्म पानी में, एकदम सर्दी खांसी कभी नहीं होगा।
अच्छा।
हम भेजेंगे हल्दी ऑर्गेनिक
Please. So last class didn't get recorded. My bad because I I pressed the record button and then I didn't check whether it started or not, and there was some error, and the whole class didn't get recorded. So those of you who missed it, don't worry.
It's good now, sir. You'll repeat it today.
We'll repeat not all of it, but we'll repeat. Don't worry. We'll cover it, all of it, in some way or the other. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get started. So, Om. प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित्सुखं परमहं सगतिं तुरीयम् यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणाम् मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनम् पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानं विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति। Hari Om. We'll chant from verses 11 to 15. Verse number 11 to 15 of chapter 3. देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु यः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यतः। देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ। इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः। इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः। यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः ये पचन्त्यातकारणात्। यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्। अन्नाद् भवति भूतानि पैर् पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद् भवन्ति पर्जन्यः यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम् कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्. Okay, verses 8, 9, 10. Verses 9 and 10 actually. 8 we had covered in the previous class. We touched upon 8 in the last class as well. And then verse number 9 and 10 we discussed in the previous class. Are there any questions?
I have questions if nobody else has.
Please go ahead.
So in verse 8, there is essential to beneficial action is your ability to adopt it to obligation. So how do we adopt, how do we do this? Like, how do we?
Essential to beneficial action. Okay. So, actions, written action, statement. Okay. Essential to beneficial action is your ability to adopt it to obligation. The basis of Hindu dharma is the performance of duty. That is serving society. Modern society revolves around people claiming rights on taking from society. Any individual or nation that functions on rights rather than duties will deteriorate and perish. Taking deteriorates and serving nourishes. Krishna advises Arjuna to perform niyatam karma, niyatam. Okay. So your question is, essential to beneficial action is your ability to adopt it to obligation. Okay. So what's your question about this?
So basically, how do we do this? How do we adopt it to an obligation? I did not understand the process of doing it.
Okay. No, what he means by this is that it's very important, essential to you being a productive, beneficial being, is to be acutely aware of what is your obligation and perform it to the T. Means put precedence on your obligation. What you like to do, what you don't like to do, what you want to do, what you don't want to do, what others want you to do, all those are other factors that determine your action, right? But duty should be on the top. So regardless of anything else, some people may not want you to perform your duty. Some people may want you to perform your duty. You may not wish to do it. You may be feeling lazy, or you may be feeling it's unfair. So all sorts of different doubts and indecisions can come into your mind, but the most precedence should be given to your dharma, your duty, your obligation. And we've already said before that your obligation is not something that someone else imposes upon you. You have to use your buddhi to determine what is your obligation. And your conscience within you is like a needle, is like a compass needle. So we all have a conscience. We know what a conscience means. The conscience is the voice within you that guides you in the right direction, that guides you towards the truth. So that conscience in you, the more you use your buddhi to determine what you should do and what you should not do, that conscience will guide you. That conscience will be that reassuring voice, right? Um, See, conscience is different from guilt trip. Okay, someone else might be guilt tripping you, might be manipulating your emotions. That's different from conscience. So we have to first use our own buddhi to determine what is our obligation, what are my goals in life, what are my responsibilities in life. Let me do that to the best of my abilities. Either nature has given you some obligations, 20-30% of your obligations nature gives you, based on the family you're born into, based on the environment you're born into, based on the circumstances you're born into. You just have to deal with them. You can't run away from them, or you can't disregard them. You ought not. That's nature's homework for you. And the rest you take up based on what you choose to do. You take up a certain activity, you take up a certain opportunity, you take up a certain career, you take up a certain relationship. If you've taken up a relationship, if you've decided to have a child, it's a minimum 20-year obligation. Today I don't feel like feeding my child. Today I don't feel like taking my child out on a stroll. You can't do that. It's an obligation. You've entered a relationship, you've entered a marriage. Your partner is your obligation. Are you conscious of their feelings and emotions? Are you conscious of their comforts? Are you conscious of their needs? It's your obligation. Because why? Because you chose to do it. Either chose or arranged marriage. You agreed to do it. One way or the other, you chose. As opposed to people thinking people's default attitude is, oh, if I'm doing something, what can I get from it? If I'm entering a relationship, what can I get from it? If I'm entering an opportunity, what can I get from it? If I'm starting a career, what can I get from it? That attitude of getting, the attitude of rights, what are my rights? Me. We're not saying you should not have any rights. That's not what he's saying. It's only about what is given precedence. So here he's saying that if you give your obligation precedence over your rights, and when everyone does that, then a society flourishes. Otherwise, it perishes. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before chaos sets in. So does that make sense? How to do it? You have to use your buddhi.
I think you answered all my 3 questions at a go, because they basically followed up with the other conscience and even the offerings as for a common cause. So I think you minded up totally.
Yeah,
But many a times our duties overlap each other. Many times they cross each other.
First of all, आप अगर बुद्धि यूज करोगे ना, many times it doesn't happen. It's actually a conflict between duty and non-duty. इसलिए हम कहते हैं कि बुद्धि लगाओ. जहाँ बुद्धि लगाते हैं, we will realize one is not a duty, one is a duty. But in the rare occasion where duty is actually not many times, what I'm trying to say is very rarely, but it does happen, that two duties conflict. There are rare occasions in life where duties conflict, and in there choose the higher duty. Out there choose the more unselfish duty. Out there choose the more selfless duty. Choose a spiritual duty over a mundane duty. Choose an unselfish duty over a selfish or relatively selfish or obligation.
And so as you were
One that caters to the community, or one that caters to the nation, or one that caters to a larger circle should be given precedence of one that caters to a smaller circle. That's what I mean by unselfish versus selfish.
Sir, also, sir, since you just spoke about duties versus rights, not versus, basically duties and rights. So in any relationship, when one person is talking about his rights and the other person who's reading the Gita Ji and is following duties, that's a tough one.
No, what is tough is when both are demanding rights.
Obviously,
That is the tough one.
undoubtedly.
Uh,
I'm after
that
reading.
is toughest.
Sure.
That is recipe for disaster.
That is what
Recipe for conflict, recipe for toxicity, recipe for struggle, recipe for tantrums, recipe for everything. when everyone is like, okay, तुमने ये नहीं किया मेरे लिए, you didn't do this. Yeah, we bottle up these feelings, and one day this bursts, and we have Mahabharat. Uh, all the planets are aligned for that Mahabharat. So the real conflict is when nobody follows this. When one person follows it, yeah, that person may feel the other person it's unfair. Why am I only doing it? That also is a limitation. Your duty is regardless of others' actions. You performing your duty is regardless of others' actions. And it's a tough pill to swallow in the beginning, but it becomes such a fulfilling way of functioning. You only realize in time. In the beginning, it feels like, oh, मैं कर रहा हूँ, वो नहीं कर रहा है. ये कैसे हो सकता है? This is unfair. Life is not meant to be fair. Visibly. जो बच्चा रोएगा उसको ज्यादा अटेंशन मिलेगा, राइट? जो बच्चा रोएगा उसको ज्यादा अटेंशन मिलेगा. इट्स एज सिंपल एज दैट. सो दोज बट आपको रोना है क्या, वो आप डिसाइड करो. आपको अटेंशन चाहिए क्या, वो आप डिसाइड करो. सो you realizing that you giving precedence to duty is a sign of your growth, is a sign of your maturity. When you're not bothered by fleeting emotions or fleeting, meaningless things. You are. Sorry, 1 second. Who is this person? Yeah. When you're not obsessing over unnecessary things, it's a sign of maturity, right? Also, if you lead by example, the other person is bound to follow. If you do your duty to the T, the other person is bound to follow. The other person is bound to become a little more conscious. Unless the person is a complete asura. Unless the person is even a Rakshasa will become a little conscious. So what are you calling your partner? Daiva, a Rakshasa, or an Asura? If they're a complete Asura, then chances are that they will remain selfish. But if you are unselfish, then your action, your example will impact another. They will have that sort of awakening of their own conscience. They will want to play their part, right? It's all about leading by example. I was watching this beautiful video on game theory, and I'll share that video with you guys. It's very wonderful. Game theory is it's a misnomer because it makes it feel like it's dealing with something silly like games. But game theory essentially is a concept broadly in economics, or essentially in any, in a broader field of sort of social sciences, which studies strategies, which studies sort of, various aspects. So in game theory, there was an example given. It's hard for me to explain what was covered in that 30-minute video, but the conclusion I'll share with you. The conclusion was about how you may, by your own example and by a small community, you can influence a larger community. So no doubt the larger community may be unrighteous, or the larger community may be predisposed to being selfish, but you by your own example can influence your immediate surrounding, and then that immediate community, that small community, can go ahead and actually influence a larger circle. So sure, it's hard when one person is following their duty, another person is not, but it's less hard than when both people are not following their duty. And over a period of time, your conviction, your example will influence those around you. It's bound to have an influence.
So looking after your body, looking after your mind and intellect, is it a selfish duty, Or is it the most important duty first?
It is a fundamental duty. It's the most important, essential duty. Now, it depends on what you mean by looking after. Oh, I need to go to the parlor for 4 hours to look after my body.
I was
That's
surprised.
debatable.
Uh,
Huh?
One is saying even the maintenance of your
I
body.
I
He's giving
need a pedicure and a manicure every 3 days. Now that's debatable whether that's an obligation or not. But if you get what I mean, right? Nourishing your body with also we think taking care means pampering. No, taking care very often comes with challenging. Uh, Keeping your body in good repair includes exercise, includes maybe eating properly, at not following a certain discipline. Taking care of your mind means nourishing it with positive emotion, means protecting it from unnecessary conflicts. Nourishing your intellect means challenging it with new thoughts and ideas to engage with, to move out of your comfort zone, to actually try to explore a new idea, right? So very often nourishing and taking care means actually challenging, right? Not pampering. But absolutely, one of your primary obligations is to your own material equipments, your body, your mind, and your intellect. Any other questions?
Hariom Bala here, sir. There are two questions. One is, see, you said that working in the Agnos pit for a higher purpose without selfishness will reduce the desires and will increase the productivity and peace of mind. Now, in my career, I'm also into sales and marketing. In my career, I worked for organizations where certainly, I made them from rich to wealthy, no two opinions about it. And they also made me rich. That's a different issue. But under the line, down the line, it's not getting percolated. So in such a case, what I can offer to my team is mostly in terms of knowledge, in terms of, support, moral support and other things. So is it a limitation one has got in the particular thing? How can we go about it?
No, can you explain what is the limitation? What is not getting percolated?
No, what I'm saying is when I work for an organization, I take the interest of the organization than my interest, and automatically the company prospers and I also get prosperity. There's no two opinion about it. But down the line, under me, there is I'm working at a higher level. Then under me, there are a lot of people are working. But the management is not giving that kind of a monetary benefit to the people down the line. So there is, you got my point? I'm getting benefited, but down the team, I'm not getting benefited. Number one. Number two, what I can impart in the given situation is the knowledge sharing, maybe closing the deals or, backing them support or whatever the things I can do is what I am able to do that. So I'm not able to get that monetary benefits for the team, irrespective of my talking to the management.
Yeah. You've asked a question very close to my heart because this is what I do day in, day out. That's why your company will remain mediocre. Because it's not able to not only monetary benefit, but even other non-monetary sort of benefits. Because it's very important in any organization, in any unit, in any society to acknowledge effort, to have gratitude for that, right? The top has to have gratitude for, say, everything percolating down. And if it doesn't happen, then there is an automatic stunted growth in the organization. So for a management that it doesn't conscientiously acknowledge, sometimes that's why most employees threaten. Most employees look out in the market for compete offers, and they will look for other opportunities. And only when the time comes to retain or when the threat comes, then the management will act. So can you change this? I doubt you can change this. Okay.
No, somewhere down the line they feel they give you a premium value for me. They don't understand it's a teamwork and I'm leading it. Yeah, I do take a credit, but I'm not everything.
Because they have shed all their load on you. They know that you are a point of, okay, if you break, then it'll be very difficult to replace you. If someone else leaves, okay, you'll be able to find a replacement for them. So they give you that premium value. That's why they pay you in a certain way. But this is a largely Rajasic environment, right? In general, most businesses, most enterprises are largely Rajasic environments, and they function on this method. They function on this template of fear, threat, greed, um, you know, lot of desire riddenness, right? And a very short-sighted vision. And that's what differentiates a, a mediocre, maybe a reasonably moti okay company from a great organization, right? Or from an enterprise that sort of lasts the test of time. So can you change it? I doubt you can change it. It's very difficult to change a very Rajasic environment, especially if you are not the one in power, you are not the one in control. You have to find some other intelligent ways of getting your team compensated, and
No,
chances are
what? Okay.
you should try a threat. See, I'm saying this because I'm sitting in the point where I'm in the management, right? And I'm deciding, okay, I know as a management it's my duty to recognize the contribution of not just the executives but even those below them. Most people we know don't. That's just the way in which most organizations function.
It goes to the level of appreciating my point, but beyond that, it doesn't go. They are listening to me, but then it doesn't go. I know they think that I'm eating humble pie. It's not humble pie. It's a fact of the day.
Fair. We can talk about this, but I
Okay.
guess
Yeah.
I guess
Okay. The second thing is that in case of a tamasic activity, say addiction, smoking, how to use karma yoga to come out of it?
so. It's rather difficult to use. It's rather difficult to come out of tamasic activities.
Okay.
In the end of this chapter, in fact, in the end of this chapter, Arjuna will say, "You've given me all this knowledge about karma yoga. Yet, very often we do what we know we should not do. Right? Most tamasic activities, the person who's performing the tamasic action has all the knowledge of karma yoga, of every trick in the trade, but is still unable to actually come out of certain habits, right? And Lord Krishna compares it to, say, a womb which just needs time to um, develop. So the baby in the womb needs time to develop and then emerge. So tamasic habits need a certain period of time where you have to be consistent in your efforts. That itself is very difficult. Most people are very inconsistent in their efforts. You have to be consistent in your efforts and very patient with yourself, because your mind will constantly want to oscillate back to it. You will want to, then people get into starting to blame themselves, starting to feel doubtful whether they're capable of actually improving themselves, changing themselves. So you have to fight all those. First of all, you have to fight your own inconsistency. You have to be consistent, and you have to fight your own doubts and inhibitions about yourself, that you have to believe in yourself that you can actually overcome it. So with consistent effort and patience and non sort of vilifying your own self, because people get very self-critical. Remove both those things. That is the only chance you have to actually overcome a tamasic habit. Those two factors are very important.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, verse number 8 and verse number 9 and 10, what we covered in the previous class. Just give me a second. I need to. Okay. Verse number 9. So in verse number 8, he talked about obligation. which is a lot of the questions today have come up on, the idea of obligation. He said, perform your obligation because action is necessary, action is important, action is superior to inaction. So nowhere in the scriptures do we say that you must refrain from action or you must leave everything and get away from things. No, in fact, action is given the most primary importance. You cannot run away from any situation in life. You must perform your action and you must perform your obligation. That's the most important. Even to maintain your body, you need to perform action. So in the spirit of action, that begs the question, how should one perform action? What attitude? What is the right action? So herein he introduces the concept of yajna. Yajna means sacrifice. That spirit of sacrifice in action. Sacrifice doesn't mean giving up your interest. Sacrifice doesn't mean allowing someone else to walk over you. No. What is the meaning of yajna? The spirit of true sacrifice is the spirit of yajna. And we talked about this. A yajna is nothing but symbolized by the ritual of a havan. So we've all performed havans in lives, in our societies, in our rituals, in several occasions. We all perform a havan. A havan is the symbol of what is a yajna. A yajna is right action. So what happens in a havan is there is a kunda of a trough which represents your field of activity, and in that you ignite a fire. That fire represents the goal. The fire represents the common purpose. That fire represents that which brings all the people together. So something you worship. That fire is something you worship, and into that fire you offer your ahuti, you offer your samagri, you offer the ghee. So all of these represent the collective efforts that each individual is offering into the fire, and as a result of that, the fire kindles, it flourishes, and there is a you bow in gratitude to that fire, and that fire nourishes you. That's the spirit of a yajna. In a yajna, that's the spirit of action, right action. In this world, the havan kunda is the field of activity that you are performing your action in. Some people are doctors, some people are teachers, some people are business people. Your business, your hospital or your field of action, your school or your area of service is your havan kunda. And in this havan kunda, it's not just you, it's innumerable other people who are also coming to drive that organization, to run that institution, to run that field of activity. So there's contribution not only your own, but innumerable other people who are coming to perform the action. All of you collectively putting in your efforts in the spirit of collaboration is contributing to the goal. There is a collective goal each of you have, all of you have, or the extent to which you have a collective goal, to that extent your action will actually flourish. So the first thing in a yajna is that you have to have a goal. Without a goal, if you simply live for the sake of instant gratification, if you only live for the next immediate pleasure, if you live without any direction, there's no yajna, right? That begs the question, what kind of goal? So the goal also evolves over a period of time, right? You start, or a person first pitches up perhaps a selfish goal, or what they can conceive in their minds as benefiting themselves, right? So beyond instant gratification, I'll just share my screen. Beyond instant gratification, the first stage is instant gratification. That's all that someone thinks of. But beyond instant gratification is a selfish goal. The word selfish out here means it is only catering to a small immediate cause. Means I, me, myself. That's the most selfish. The most selfish is I, me, myself. Beyond that, my family and me. Not even brother's family. Not even siblings' family. That's less selfish than I, me, myself, but that's more selfish than the extended family. Then only thinking about the extended family. I, me, and my siblings' family and my parents, but not my cousins. Not Chacha ji and Tau ji and Bhua and Mami and Mamu. None of those. Why should I share with them? Then I care about my immediate family, my goal to serve the immediate family, but not the community. So some people will have a joint family home. They'll have an entire builder floor, 4 floors, uh, but they'll occupy all the parking, and they'll block the parking for their family members and not let the neighbors park. Most fights in Delhi are over parking. So, in that sense, selfish and unselfish are relative terms. Anything that is catering to a bigger circle is more unselfish than a smaller circle and is more selfish than a further bigger circle. So, whether it's you, yourself, your immediate family, your extended family, your community, your nation, the entire world, these are all concentric circles of expansion, expanding your consciousness, expanding your awareness. So, when we talk about the term unselfish goal, we mean, are you thinking about your contribution and your impact? To what extent are you thinking about your contribution and impact to the largest circle? It doesn't mean you have to, start a global organization that is serving all of humanity. No. You sitting in your own home making simple choices can contribute to the most unselfish goal. The way in which you make your choices, are you contributing to a more peaceful world? Say, for example, we are having this class out here. Now, we're not determining who joins, who doesn't join. We're sharing knowledge that is good for all of humanity, right? It's not limited to any caste, creed, society, nationality. Now, we're not necessarily doing this at a global scale, but anyone can benefit, and the purpose is for anyone to benefit. So this is an unselfish goal that we collectively have. The idea is that we will share with 2 people, 2 people will share with 4 people, 4 people will share with the 8 people, and it will spread like that with no demarcations. So our consciousness is including all of humanity in this endeavor to study this knowledge. So it's an unselfish goal. So you start with instant gratification. Either you don't have a goal, there's no yajna. But to first of all have a yajna, you must have a goal. You must have something you're working towards. And then you ought to slowly expand the periphery of that goal. Right? Who are you contributing? Who are you aware of? What are you conscious of in pursuing that goal? Right? So your circle of identification expands and your sense of self-importance reduces as you expand this goal. But even in an unselfish goal, a person can still retain a lot of ego. I am doing the action. I am being unselfish. I am contributing. My purpose is this. And ego, even about an attachment, it's a very subtle thing. It's a very subtle thing. That sense of self-consciousness where I am not being able to do my part. There's a beautiful poem. There's a beautiful poem by John Milton called On His Blindness. I think it's John Milton. I hope it's John Milton. Now, he was one of the most celebrated poets of his time. And, I'm guessing, I'm not a poet, but I'm guessing that each of your senses contributes immensely to your capacity to, create poetry, right? Essentially, what you're observing and what you're receiving is kindling what you are expressing through your words. So, this great poet was inflicted with blindness towards, maybe at a relatively older age, but still early in some senses. So he became blind. And when he became blind, he turned incapable of performing his goal of poetry. It may have been unselfish. He may have wanted to contribute to humanity through his beautiful works, through his wonderful thoughts. And that caused a lot of anguish. That caused a lot of anguish. He felt a sense of helplessness. It was depressing. He felt like his life was taken away from him. What's the purpose to live anymore? And then he penned this beautiful poem. It's a wonderful poem. Maybe we'll share it someday. But the last line of his poem is what I will quote out here. The last line of his poem was, "They also serve who only stand and wait." They also serve who only stand and wait. What that line means is, because I can spend an hour talking about that line. Really. If you have the interest, we can talk about it. They also serve who only stand and wait. What that means is that when you dedicate yourself to a goal, and as you expand, as you remove that self-importance, you become an instrument of action. You become a means for that goal to be attained. You become a part, a spoke in the wheel. So beyond an unselfish goal is actually what is called a purpose. And you're simply serving that purpose. In purpose, there is no me. People say, what is my purpose? There's no my purpose, there's purpose. If there is a my, it is an unselfish goal. If there is a me, if there's a my goal, there's no my purpose. As you remove the me, as you remove the I, your unselfish goal turns into a purpose. So what have you done? You've included all of the universe. You've become conscious of all beings, and you've removed that self-importance completely. That's when unselfish goal turns into purpose. And when you truly embody purpose, then you realize that I am simply playing the part I was sent to play. I am an instrument of the Lord. He gave me eyes to write poetry. Now He's taken away my eyes for me to only stand and wait. In both, I am serving. With eyes, I was serving through poetry. Without eyes, I am serving by standing and waiting. They also serve who only stand and wait. Do nothing. That time I was playing my purpose as a poet. Now I am playing my purpose as a blind man. It's a very subtle thought. I don't know if you can appreciate it. It's a very subtle thought. So when you remove that complete sense of I, me, my, when you simply become an instrument, that's a karma yogi, where the only motive is purpose. What was I sent to do? What am I designed to do? Let me do it to the best of my ability. That's selfless action. So the 4 stages, you go through these 4 stages. We're coming back to the idea of a yajna. The yajna starts with a goal, and a perfect yajna is when you completely embody your action to purpose. Right? Duty. Perfect duty is purpose. And how does that happen? We see in our culture, we do it through divinizing our goals. We create the idea of gods that we serve. Right? So he's going to talk about that in the next verse. The reason I'm saying this is because we turn our goals from selfish to unselfish to selfless by the introduction of deities, by the introduction of gods and goddesses who we serve. When we do arti, sab kuch hai tera, tera tujhko arpan. I am doing your bidding. What is the meaning of that? We are divinizing our actions. We are divinizing all our work. When we aspire to earn wealth, we do it as a service to Goddess Lakshmi and not as a selfish aggrandizement. When we endeavor to learn, we do it as we oblate it to Goddess Saraswati. So we are divinizing our goals. We'll talk about that in the next verse, which is why I wanted to take a moment to talk about this idea of yajna and jump to verse number 11. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyah paramavapsyatha. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyah paramavapsyatha. Nourish the gods with this, and may those gods nourish you. Nourishing one another, you shall attain the supreme good. Nourish the gods with this. This means yajna, the spirit of sacrifice, yajna, what we've talked about. Nourish the gods with your selfless action, with your sense of performing your role to the best of your ability in any situation, performing your duty to the best of your ability. Nourish the gods with this attitude, and those gods will nourish you, and may those gods nourish you. This is the cycle of yajna. Now, what are gods? What are gods? In our tradition, in our culture, it's very ingenious creation. So we think that in this culture, we are a polytheistic faith with innumerable gods, and everyone can worship their own gods. And somehow, some people also try to create some competition between gods. My God is better than your God, or I'm in Team Krishna, you're in Team Rama. Little do they know both are forms of Vishnu. Or I am in Team Vishnu and you're in Team Shiva. Little do they know. Sa Brahma, sa Shiva, Sendra, Sokshara, Paramasvarat. Sa Eva Vishnu, sa Prana, sa Kalugni, sa Chandramaha. This is the Upanishad. Sa Brahma, sa Shiva, sa Vishnu. The Tatriya. So we think of gods as being different entities. That's very ingenious creation. Now, why did we land up with so many gods? Essentially, every aspect of the universe has been turned into a deity. Wherever the mind goes, see, it's very difficult for us to think about God because it's a very abstract concept. Most people are only chances are what you see in front of you, you'll think about that. So people's mind does not go to God, not easily. So how do you make people think of God? You make people think of God, instead of asking them to think of God, you bring God to wherever their mind falls. If their mind goes to wealth, you plant a God there. If their mind goes to health, you plant a God there. If their mind goes to success, you plant a God there. Most people, for 90% of people, their mind goes to do 2-3 things. That's why these gods are the most famous. Goddess Lakshmi is the most famous. Lord Ganesha is the most famous. For a lot of people, work, and success. So Lord Ganesha is, very popular. For a lot of people, education and knowledge is important. So God is Saraswati. So you have more popular gods because a lot of people think about that, and therefore, it's easier to integrate. There are a lot of unknown but smaller deities. A lot of people who face physical ailments, become, say, a Ved or a doctor, Ayurvedic doctor will introduce the idea of a certain deity, right? And I don't recall, but there are innumerable deities for different diseases also, depending on the kind of diseases you're dealing with.
Not Dhanvantari.
Not arrogating your own disease to you also. So what is the idea of divinizing, creating this, this entire plethora of gods and goddesses? Is to, first of all, take your thought to God wherever your thought goes, and reduce that arrogation, reduce the I, me, my, reduce the ego in your thought, right? So you, first of all, have a sense of, service to the deity, and a sense of surrender to the deity. That if I surrender to the deity, I'll be taken care of. It's an ingenious creation. And that's what is reflecting in this verse, that you nourish the gods through all your efforts, through all your work. Don't worry about yourself. You just focus on nourishing the gods. You just focus on working towards the collective goal. And those gods will nourish you. Nourish one another, and you shall attain the supreme good. And functioning in this manner, functioning in the spirit of yajna, where you're working towards a cause and that cause is taking care of you, you will grow spiritually, you will attain the supreme good, you will attain spiritual enlightenment. Earlier in the last chapter, he said that one who functions in the spirit, one who is self-controlled and functions in the spirit of yajna, go to verse number 65 of chapter 2. He said, prasadam adhigacchati. They attain prasada. And the next verse said, prasade sarva dukkhanam. All your dukkhas will be alleviated with this prasada. What he means to say is that if you function in this way, you will be taken care of in ways you couldn't have imagined. Right now, you want control of your life. Right now, you think, okay, this is what I need, this is my right, this is what I expect, this is what the world should give me. And chances are you'll get a lot of things, but a lot of things will be, it's a constant conflict. This is a constant conflict. But he said, prasade sarva dukkhanam. If you function in the spirit of yajna, you'll be taken care of in ways where all your sorrows will be alleviated, in ways you couldn't have imagined. Maybe you'll not get what you thought you needed. You'll get something altogether different. So nourish the gods and may they nourish you. This is the cycle of life. This is the cycle of life. You are playing your part and nature is taking care of you. You must develop the spirit of surrender and the spirit of yajna in your functioning. If you want peace, if you want prasada. At the heart of karma yoga, as we're stepping into this journey of understanding what is karma yoga, it's understanding that you are a part of a whole. You are a spoke in the wheel. You are a speck in this universe. And you have to realize that all you need to do is simply play your part. It's not insignificant. Don't think that when I say that you are a part of a whole, it means you are insignificant or you are... No, you've been sent here to play a part. And that part is very important. No doubt. You're not all important, neither are you unimportant. You're not all important, neither are you unimportant. Be graceful and play your role to the best of your ability. Functioning like this, you shall attain the supreme good. You will grow spiritually and you will attain enlightenment. That's the guarantee of the Lord. Verse number 12. Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha तैर्दत्तान प्रदायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तान प्रदायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः. Verily the gods nourished by sacrifice will give you the desired enjoyments. So he's saying, don't worry. The gods who are nourished by your sacrifice will give you your desired enjoyments. You'll get, in fact, they'll give you more. Here he's saying they'll give you your desired enjoyments. Elsewhere he says they'll give you more than you could have imagined. So he's saying, don't worry. Now the second part of this verse is what I want to focus on. He who enjoys what is given by them without having offered to them is indeed a thief. Stena eva saha. He who enjoys what is given without having offered is indeed a thief. Most of us live in this world wanting, expecting, wishing, and best is if we get it for free. Nothing like it. Huh? Let's go to Goa casino. Oh my God. Roulette table for free. How happy will you be? Suppose I say, I'll give you 3 guaranteed wins in the roulette table. How happy will you be? What most of us seek is to take without contributing, to take without actually putting in any effort. That's a deep-rooted feeling in most of us. He who enjoys what is given without having offered. We're not saying you must not take, but between taking and giving, between contributing and receiving, what is given more weightage? What is given more importance? So the Lord uses a very interesting term. He says, you and I, we're all thieves. जो मजबूरी से चोरी करता है वो चोर नहीं है, वो मजबूर है. जो मजबूरी से चोरी करता है वो चोर नहीं है, वो मजबूर है. But one who wants to receive without actually contributing, wants to just enjoy what is given without having contributing, is a thief. Then you may say, okay, I don't want anything. I don't want anything. You are constantly being given, whether you want it or not. Nature is giving you every moment. You are being gifted with health. You are being gifted with your capacity to function. You are being gifted with a circulatory system, a nervous system. You are being gifted with the capacity to think, feel. You are being gifted with innumerable functions right now for you to be able to sit here quietly, peacefully. Right now, simply a pain in your left canine. Sir, sorry, I can't attend class today. My left canine is giving me pain. One small thing had to be off for a small toothache, and it would have left you dysfunctional. For you to function normally right now, innumerable things are working for you. You're not paying for it. Gauravji, I must say, you have to pay your oxygen bill, otherwise your oxygen will be cut off. You did not receive the bill?
What happened, sir?
You have to pay your oxygen bill.
I didn't get you.
You have to pay your oxygen bill. You're breathing, right?
Yeah.
When did you pay your bill?
No.
Why?
As you say, it's free.
We're being given. The least we have to do to pay our oxygen bill is take care of our lungs. Don't be a chain smoker. The least we have to do. You have to offer. So if you simply want to receive without offering, if you simply want to get, take, this is a tamasic attitude. A tamasic attitude of wanting without giving. And the funny thing is that you are all receiving. We are all receiving. In the beautiful poem by Khalil Gibran on giving, he said, you are all receivers. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. Otherwise, I would have opened up Khalil Gibran right now. Next class, we'll start with Khalil Gibran. We're all receivers. We're all receiving at every moment. Okay, from the respect of your body, you're receiving. With respect to your entire, even outside you, your family, your circumstances. Yeah, sure, maybe 1 or 2 things are not working. Some people are born with a certain difficult circumstance here or there. No doubt about it. Nobody's environment is perfect. But when you compare it to what you are receiving, what is the proportion? Maybe something is not right in someone's environment. Maybe they are born in a difficult situation or circumstance. Okay. But everything else? Maybe they are born in a slightly dysfunctional family. But everything else? So we are very good at complaining about our environment. We are very good at focusing on what is not working and wanting more, demanding, this is my right. We are very bad at acknowledging what we have received. We're very bad at acknowledging what we are continuing to receive, and we are very bad at saying, what can I do? How can I pay back? How can I offer? He who is best at repaying is best among men, said Prophet Muhammad. He who is best at repaying is best among men. That's Karma Yoga. The Prophet was talking about Karma Yoga. If you enjoy what is given to you without having that attitude of what can I do? How can I serve? What is my duty? Then you're a thief. That's not me saying it. That's the Lord saying it. Huh? हम सब चोर हैं. No one is asking you to give extra. Just give for what you have received, even a fraction. Just have the attitude, oh, I want to pay back. I want to serve. I want to play my part. Minimum. Otherwise, you're a thief. Verse number 13, another beautiful verse we'll take up in the next class. So here he's talked about a tamasic functioning, a tamasic person, a tamasic attitude to action. In the next verse, he'll talk about a rajasic attitude and a sattvic attitude, which we will discuss on Thursday. So with that thought, we'll conclude today. It's been a little heavy, so please digest whatever was discussed and please come back with questions. I'm happy to take up any questions. If there are any questions right now also, we can take a couple of minutes to...
You talked about Milton poem where he said, when he has become blind, I'm standing and I'm waiting. Is it that he's talking about a prasada buddhi?
Indeed. So, when you develop an attitude of being an instrument, your buddhi is gifted with the prasada of detachment, of clarity, of peace. So, prasada buddhi is simply, you can translate it as clarity of thought or peace of mind or a sense of contentment, right? That's what arises out of that spirit of yajna, that yajna bhav. So, yes.
Can we say acceptance, sir? Total acceptance without any...
Yeah, but see, acceptance doesn't quite take it home. Acceptance is a very gross level. Acceptance is, okay, I don't have an option, so I'm accepting it. You still hold on to a lot of, feelings of angst and dissatisfaction, but you're accepting it. And that's a very gross level. Of course, that itself requires effort, but we're talking about a level beyond that. We're talking about a sense of detachment, right? When you're able to be graceful, not just accept. So acceptance comes with a certain, level. Grace comes with a certain different elevated level. Yeah.
Can you name the poem in the WhatsApp, sir? Can you just write the poem so that I can go through that?
I'll share the entire poem on WhatsApp.
Sir, the word
Thank you.
offer here, does this mean you have to something that is given to you, or we have to work and in order to achieve that whatever is offered, sir?
No, the word offer out here means offer your man, buddhi, sharira. Offer your efforts. Offer your first. So offering is of 5 types: dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna, jnana yajna. At every level, at the level of your material, offering wealth, offering money, offering material service. At the level of the body, offering physical service with your time and effort. Maybe inconveniencing yourself, maybe straining yourself a little bit. Yoga yajna, offering your mind, emotions, offering your sympathies and empathy, being able to put yourself in other shoes and maybe share the load, emotional load of someone. Then there is Jnana Yajna, which is sharing your thoughts, ideas, your clarity with others, right? Trying to help them navigate, say, an intellectual conundrum. So offering is at any of these levels. So with whatever you have received, you have nourished yourself. With whatever you have received, you have benefited yourself, and you have gained material wealth, you have gained physical health, you have gained emotional solace, and you have gained intellectual clarity and knowledge. Now, what are you with this? Are you offering? Right? With this, are you contributing? That's the idea. That's the word meaning of offer.
जितनी खुशी दे के मिलती है उतनी लेके नहीं मिलती.
Indeed. Ya pashyati sah pashyati. If you see it, you see it.
So what did you just say? Could you please repeat that? Pashyati, ये जो आपने बताया.
Yah pashyati sah pashyati. It's very difficult for me to explain to you कि जितनी खुशी दे के मिलती है उतनी खुशी लेके नहीं मिलती है. आपको अनुभव करना पड़ेगा. या तो you understand it or you don't understand it. Yah pashyati means you see it. Yah pashyati sah pashyati. If you see it, you see it. I can't explain. Huh?
Excellent. Very well said.
Very, very well said. Thank you, sir.
Okay. If no other thoughts, we'll conclude and we'll see you again on Thursday. Thank you so much for joining.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Sir, thank